Dave Rennie's overseas experience could give him the edge over Scott Robertson in All Blacks role. Rennie's lengthy period coaching outside New Zealand may prove to be a major advantage as he steps into the All Blacks head coaching role, potentially giving him a different perspective compared to his predecessor Scott Robertson. For decades, New Zealand Rugby, NZR, has largely followed a familiar pattern when appointing All Blacks coaches. Typically, they either promote someone already involved within the national setup or recruit a coach who has been performing well in Super Rugby with one of the New Zealand franchises. That traditional approach was followed when Scott Robertson was appointed head coach after years of remarkable success with the Crusaders. However, in turning to Dave Rennie as Robertson's successor, NZR appears to have taken a different path. Rennie has been away from the New Zealand coaching landscape for almost a decade, and that time spent overseas could offer a fresh outlook that might benefit the national team during a new phase of development. A decade away from New Zealand rugby, Dave Rennie last coached in New Zealand in 2017 when he departed the Chiefs after a highly successful stint with the Waikato-based franchise. During his time with the Chiefs, Rennie established himself as one of the most respected coaches in Super Rugby. Under his leadership, the Chiefs won back-to-back Super Rugby titles in 2012 and 2013, defeating the Sharks and the Brumbies respectively in the finals. Those triumphs not only elevated the Chiefs to one of the competition's dominant teams, but also cemented Rennie's reputation as a coach capable of building cohesive and successful squads. Following that success, Rennie decided to broaden his coaching horizons by moving overseas. He accepted a position with the Glasgow Warriors in Scotland, marking the beginning of a long period away from New Zealand rugby. Success in Scotland with Glasgow Warriors. Rennie's tenure at Glasgow Warriors ran from 2017 until 2020, and it proved to be another productive chapter in his coaching career. Although he did not capture the Pro 14 title during his time in Scotland, Rennie guided Glasgow to several strong seasons and maintained the club's reputation as one of the top sides in the competition. His time in the Northern Hemisphere allowed him to gain valuable experience working with a different style of rugby. The Pro 14 competition demanded a tactical approach suited to European conditions, including colder weather, slower pitches, and a greater emphasis on structured play. Coaching in Scotland also gave Rennie exposure to international players from a variety of countries, broadening his understanding of global rugby trends and strategies. This international experience would later prove valuable when he took the next major step in his coaching career. The Wallabies chapter in 2020, Rennie was appointed head coach of Australia's national team. The Wallabies. Taking charge of the Wallabies is widely considered one of the most demanding jobs in world rugby, and Rennie faced several challenges during his tenure. His time with Australia coincided with a difficult period for the team, including the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite those obstacles, Rennie oversaw a gradual rebuilding process that saw several young players introduced into the national setup. Under his leadership, the Wallabies produced some impressive performances, including memorable victories over top international teams. However, the results were inconsistent, and ultimately Rennie's tenure ended before the 2023 Rugby World Cup when Rugby Australia opted to bring in Eddie Jones as head coach. Overall, Rennie finished with a win rate of approximately 38% during his time with the Wallabies. While that statistic may appear modest, many players who worked under him spoke highly of his coaching style and leadership. Positive feedback from players. One factor that reportedly played a role in New Zealand Rugby's decision to appoint Rennie was the overwhelmingly positive feedback he received from players who had worked with him at international level. Despite the mixed results during his time with Australia, numerous Wallabies players praised Rennie for his communication skills, honesty, and ability to build strong relationships within the squad. When NZR sought feedback from players regarding Rennie's coaching methods and leadership qualities, the responses were largely glowing. That endorsement from players was considered an important factor, particularly given the importance of maintaining a strong culture within the All Blacks environment. Eddie Jones, prospective former Wallabies head coach, Eddie Jones believes Rennie's unique background could provide a surprising advantage for New Zealand. Speaking on a Rugby Unity podcast, Jones suggested that Rennie's lack of close ties to any specific Super Rugby franchise could actually benefit the All Blacks. According to Jones, players across all 5 New Zealand franchises may now feel they have an equal opportunity to break into the national team. The only other big difference it will make, and it's a bit of a funny one, is I reckon every player in New Zealand now will think they have a chance to play for the All Blacks. Jones said. Jones contrasted Rennie's situation with that of Scott Robertson, whose success with the Crusaders inevitably created certain perceptions among players. The Crusaders' connection Scott Robertson achieved extraordinary success with the Crusaders before becoming All Blacks head coach. During his time leading the Christchurch-based franchise, Robertson guided the team to 7 consecutive Super Rugby titles, establishing one of the most dominant dynasties in the competition's history. Because of that close association, some players may have felt there was a natural connection between Robertson and the Crusader squad. Jones explained that while such perceptions might not have been accurate, they could still influence how players view their chances of selection. When Scott Robertson came in, being a successful Super Rugby coach like he was, there would have been a perception he's going to favor the Crusaders players. Jones said, "I'm not saying that's right at all, but there would have been a perception, and maybe that perception becomes a little more real for players." A clean slate for all players in contrast. Rennie arrives without strong recent ties to any particular New Zealand franchise. Although he previously coached the Chiefs, most of the current generation of Super Rugby players did not play under him during that period. That means many players across the Blues, Hurricanes, Highlanders, Crusaders, and Chiefs may feel they are starting with a clean slate under the new head coach. Jones believes this could help create greater competition for positions within the All Black squad. Dave coming in, no real attachment to any team. He's been out of the country. Jones explained, as a result, players who may have previously felt overlooked could suddenly see new opportunities opening up. Increased competition for selection. Jones specifically mentioned Blues loose forward Dalton Papali'i as an example of a player who might feel encouraged by the appointment. Players like Papali'i, who have occasionally been on the fringes of the All Black squad, could believe they have a stronger chance of earning selection under Rennie. Guys like Papali'i, they will all be thinking, "I'm a red-hot goer," Jones said. However, Papali'i himself is unlikely to feature in the immediate future after signing a contract with French club Castres in the top 14, which means he will be playing overseas. New Zealand Rugby traditionally selects players based domestically, meaning those who move abroad generally become ineligible for the All Blacks. Nevertheless, Jones' broader point remains relevant. Rennie's arrival may reinvigorate competition among players across the country. A key moment for New Zealand Rugby, the All Blacks are currently in a period of transition as they continue to develop their squad and identify the next generation of international stars. Fresh ideas from overseas experience beyond selection dynamics. Rennie's time coaching overseas may also bring fresh tactical ideas to the All Blacks, having worked in Scotland, Australia, and now Japan. With the Kobelco Kobe Steelers, Rennie has been exposed to a wide range of rugby cultures and playing styles. This international perspective could help him introduce new approaches to training, strategy, and player management in modern rugby, where teams constantly analyze and adapt to each other's tactics. Fresh thinking can be a valuable asset. Looking ahead, Dave Rennie's appointment represents an intriguing shift in approach for New Zealand Rugby.